Hey Dave,
Hey, how you doing?
doing pretty well. Have you been?
Yeah, I've been all right. How about you?
I've been doing pretty well. Appreciate you joining again, and looking forward to today's discussion, which we're going to focus on and do a deep dive on functional capabilities of Hyperbots Sales Tax Verification Copilot. So, I have a number of questions I wanted to run through with you, and we'll first kind of kick things off by asking you, why did you bring in a dedicated sales tax copilot at all on your side?
Because vendor invoices were coming in with wrong rates, AP could only spot just a handful of them as they came by. With Hyperbots, now we've got automation to spot every single line on the voucher that posts so we can catch errors up front instead of like months later during an audit.
Great. And how does it extract the tax relevant data?
So it uses the vision language models that actually pull in the quantities, prices, ship from, ship tos, zip codes with 99.8% accuracy. Competing OCR tools hit the low 80s percents and miss header overrides, forcing a human review where we can rely on Hyperbots.
Very nice. Yeah, that's definitely a big difference. When looking at addresses, validating addresses can be tricky. Like what's different in this case?
Yep. Copilot uses the United States Post Office and Canadian Post APIs to correct typos, append, county and district codes, no valid address, no tax calculation. Legacy engines tend to just use the 5-digit zip code and hope for the best.
Gotcha. And how are items classified into tax categories?
So each agent AI classifier is trained on millions of SKU taglines, software, clothing, food. Even if the ERP item master is blank, competitors can require you to maintain like giant tax code tables manually, which Hyperbots does not do.
Okay. So where does Hyperbots get the actual tax rules?
From the jurisdiction dictionary. It's refreshed nightly, over 4,000 plus US jurisdictions, plus EU VAT and Canadian GST, HST tax. All those feeds plug straight into the Copilot.
Very good. Yeah, that's super helpful. Obviously, staying up to date is necessary. So, can it spot mismatches between what we should pay and what the vendor is charged?
Yep, that's one of the great benefits of Hyperbots, because if you are overcharged, the vendor credit memo request, for example, undercharge goes to an auto book use tax. The exempt item might be taxed, flagged for certificate checks. You know, it has to look at all these different data fields to confirm if they're correct or not. And without it, it's going to alert that something's up. So our prior AP tool only handled overcharges and ignored underpayments.
Okay, makes sense. Now, economic nexus thresholds are constantly changing. How are they monitored?
Yeah, so the Copilot tracks a rolling 12-month sales and transaction counts per state. If we're talking about the US, as soon as we cross that threshold, it alerts the tax alert has to begin to apply collection logic automatically. Most systems leave Nexus to a spreadsheet. But because Copilot is using the actual data tables, it's able to reference those in real time.
Very good. Okay. Now, this is, tends to be a tricky one, but how do you prove higher compliance?
Yeah, you can look at the error rates on sampled invoices. For example, going from 18% might be your error rate, dropping down to less than 1, not even receiving a single penalty invoice since going live.
When being notified in a platform, staying on top of things is key for productivity. Like what kind of notifications do users get about tax?
So they'll get real-time team alerts, and there's various ways you'll get them, but it'll give you the alert in plain English so you can understand. For example, invoice 987 was overcharged 0.75%, credit memo requested. That's the message you get. AP clicks, they see those details, and it's no more, end of the day data dumps that people are expected to go after their work is done. It happens in real time.
That's great. Very good. Well, talk about audit trails. Are inline level checks visible?
Yes. Yeah. Every verdict stores the rule ID, the rate source, the timestamp, and the user override, if any, in a hash-chained ledger. Auditors can query over 800 invoices and reconcile them in a single afternoon.
That's amazing. Very cool. Mm-hmm. Well, what happens when an exemption certificate is, say, missing or expired?
So the Copilot will flag the invoice. It'll pause posting and emails the vendor to secure the link to upload a new certificate. Competitors can let the invoice through, hoping that someone cleans it up later.
Okay. And can the system learn from overrides?
Absolutely. Yeah, any manual adjustment retrains the model overnight, so the same error never appears. Old rule-based engines stay static until IT makes a manual edit to different tables. The difference is Hyperbots can actually learn by going through that experience.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'd say like we operate, and this is the norm for a lot of companies, we operate in 3 ERPs. Like, does one Copilot cover them?
Yes. Yeah. Everything can be connected and linked. Entity configs activate the right with the right connector. For example, AP sees one tax exemption queue, even though invoices are posting to an SAP, a NetSuite, a Sage, an Epicor. It doesn't matter. Hyperbot still treats it all as one database.
Now, part of that is single sign-on. Like, how is single sign-on handled across ERPs?
Yep, just one Azure AD login, Hyperbots can swap invisible tokens per ERP. Tax analysts never have to juggle passwords, so that you still get the benefit of that single sign-on, even though when it's with multiple ERPs.
That's huge. Very good.
Yep.
Well, what about international invoices? VAT reverse charge, GST, you name it.
Yep. Yeah. The individual accountant doesn't need to be a tax expert because the dictionary can include EU and Canadian tax rules. Copilot flags and does the reverse charge cases and populates the correct self-assessment lines automatically. Competitors often force you into separate VAT module to process it. But Just with Hyperbots, you pull in US, you pull in EU, you pull in Canadian rules. It doesn't matter.
Well, how does the Copilot post adjustments back to the ERP?
So it writes the corrected voucher and adds the use tax line, then reads that record back to confirm. If the ERP rejects the post, the item drops into an exceptions queue, and the exact error message is then known.
Awesome. And multi-currency invoices, are there any pitfalls there?
Yeah, Hyperbots converts tax into functional and transactional currency using ERP FX table. So no revaluation surprises at month end. It's all done in real time.
Well, this is more of an open-ended question. Describe a real win you've seen.
So a vendor charged us 8.25% on software that was delivered to Dallas. The correct rate was 7.5%. Copilot flagged it. It was auto-requested a credit memo, and then we recovered $5,700 that same week.
That's fantastic. Very cool. Anytime you're getting money back, especially in the thousands, it's nice.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, paying for itself.
Oh, yeah. Well, great. Last couple questions I had for you. One of them, how quickly did, Hyperbots they're pre-trained models. Like, how quickly did those pre-trained models deliver value?
Yeah, day one. They've trained already on millions of invoices and tax outcomes, so false flags were under 1% immediately. Competing machine learning tools took weeks of feeding before they're useful.
That's awesome. Yeah, usually there's a learning curve on both sides, right? And
Right.
with technology too, being able to be that sharp out of box is huge. Seeing the value right away.
Yeah, exactly. And gives confidence to the team that it works.
100%. Well, last question I had for you is, if you could summarize why Hyperbots beats typical tax engines, that'd be great.
Okay, so competitors do like batch check after posting. Hyperbots, by comparison, extracts, validates, decides, books, and then learns live, line by line. So now we enjoy 99.8% accuracy, near zero penalties, instant credit recoveries, and an audit trail that auditors consider bulletproof.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
Well, great discussion, Dave, per usual, and looking forward to the next one, of course. But I think it was great to dive into, again, some of the functional capabilities of sales tax verification and that specific copilot from within Hyperbots. So thanks again, and really appreciate the time and the conversation today.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's great to share information on Hyperbots.